All right, imaginary numbers, arithmetic. So let's go through these questions. So I is the square root of -1, so we're going to keep that in mind as we do the work that we're doing. It's an imaginary number. The square root of -1 is not a real number. That's why it's imaginary, but it does have math properties, even science properties, where we use imaginary numbers, believe it or not. So first, we're just going to learn how to work with them. Like, can you add, subtract, multiply, and divide? So this is just combining like terms. So -6 subtract 2, I can do that. 3i subtract 5i, I hope we can do that. And we're just going to combine like terms here. So 5 and -6, that's the real number. 5i, now be careful when you hear, you might talk, when you subtract a negative, you're adding, so that makes it plus 13i. Again, combine -7, subtract 7. 6, subtract a negative. So when you subtract a negative, you're adding. Here, we got 2, and that's it. And then I plus 7, that's 8. Take away 5, that's 3. Here we have -4, subtract a negative, adding. So -4 plus 8. And then -3, subtract 7. That's -10. Here again, we're adding and subtracting. So -6 plus 6, they cross out. -2 plus -6 is -8i. So it's just an imaginary number part to it. All right, that's adding, just combining like terms. Where you have a real part, imaginary. Together, this is called a complex number. Number 7, can you multiply? So 2i times -8 is -16i, just like it was algebra. 2 times 7 is 14, and I times I is I squared, just like algebra. But let's make a point up here that if I equals the square root of -1, if I square that, that means I squared is equal to -1, because the square and the square root cross out. So I also need to know this fact in order to be able to do the arithmetic. So take out the I squared and put in -1. So we have, and I always put the real number first and then the imaginary number. And there it is. So we have to be aware of I squared. Here, multiply it together. Oh, this is a big number. 8 times 4 times 7. I'm crying, but I'm going to try my best. I think it's 224. So, and it's a -224. And then I squared. We said I squared is -1. So that becomes positive 224. Now it's a real number. All right, number 9. 8 times -2. And then I times I. We know that I squared is -1, and a negative times a negative makes it positive 16. Basically, if it's touching I squared, it changes the sign of whatever it's touching. That's what it does. If it's happy, it makes it sad. If it's sad, it makes it happy. All right. This squared would be positive 25i squared, and so the answer would be -25 because I squared is -1. All right, next level. Here we're going to FOIL. So I'm going to draw, I think most of you are comfortable drawing a box, so I'll draw a box. -4, 5i, -4, 5i, and then I'm going to multiply it through. So 16, -20i, -20i, and 25 I squared. I'm going to combine like terms. So I have -20 and -20. So let's go 16, that's -40, and this is positive 25 I squared. But it isn't over yet, because I squared is -1. So really this is 16 take away 25. And 16 take away 25, that's -9. So be aware of that I squared, and then combine like terms, and that's your final answer. All right, let's multiply this out. So 7 and -5i, -6 and 5i, and then multiply for each square. So that's -42, positive 30i, 35i, and -25i squared. So we're going to combine like terms. So we have -42, we have 35 and 30. Is that right? Or did I miss a negative? No, 35, positive, positive. So that's 65. And then I have -25 I squared. Well, right away, I'm going to take out the I squared and put it -1. Now a negative times a negative makes that plus 25. So it's really negative 42 plus 25. So I know the answer is negative. The difference between them is 17. And then you have your answer. Number 13. All right, set it up. We're going to multiply. So this is just like basic foiling that you should be able to do. And so this takes a couple steps. So negative 28 and 24 is negative 4. Negative 24i squared. So take out the I squared, make it negative 1. We know this is really positive 24. So if I add that together, you get 52 minus 4i. Always best to do it first. Then watch the video, see if you did it right. All right, we're going to multiply it. What is that? 6 times 8. I can do that, maybe. Negative 40i squared. Got it. So combined like terms, I have 48. 48 and negative 40 is positive 8i. And then we have negative 40, but the I squared is negative 1. So that's really plus 40. So I'm going to add 40 and 48. So I get 88, and then my answer. Number 15. We're squaring it, so I'm just going to repeat it on the top and on the side. And then I'm going to multiply it. And then I'm going to combine like terms. So we have 25 minus 40i plus 16i squared. But we know I squared is negative 1. So this is really negative 16. So 25, take away 16, and then the negative 40i. Good practice. Try number 16 first, then press play. So we have 8 minus 2i, we have negative 6 plus 4i, and then do the multiplying. All right, combined like terms, we have negative 48, 32, and 12. That's 44. And then negative 8i squared. Now, remember, I squared is negative 1, so this is really positive 8. So negative 48 plus 8, that's negative 40. And you have your answer. All right, turn the page. Now, this side is dividing. Whenever we divide by what's called the conjugate. Now, the conjugate means you change the sign of the imaginary number. So negative 6i, we're going to multiply top and bottom by positive 6i. So 9 times 6i and 9 times 6, but this is going to be an I squared. And then here, this is going to be an I squared. So we have some work to do. So negative 6 times 6, I and I. All right. So wherever there's an I squared, it becomes negative. So this is really negative 54 plus 54i. And on the bottom, I squared is negative 1. So really, this is positive 36. You can absolutely leave the answer just like that. Number 18. All right, so the conjugate's negative 10i. So 1 times negative 10i. And negative times a negative is plus 60. And then this is negative 100i squared. Oh, where's my I? This is I squared. So I squared makes this negative 60 minus 10i. And again, the I squared makes it positive 100. And you have your answer. Number 19, we're going to multiply by negative 4i, top and bottom. So 4 times negative 4. Negative times a negative is positive 24i squared. This is negative 16i squared. So I squared makes that negative 24 minus 16i. The I squared makes that positive 16. Done. Number 20, multiply by negative 2i top and bottom. So again, that's negative 18i. A negative and a negative is plus 20i squared. This is negative 4i squared. There's a fly. The I squared makes that negative 20 minus 18i. The fly wants to get in the video. And then I squared, maybe you got it in the video, I squared is negative, so that makes it a positive 4. So again, I squared changes that to the opposite sign, always. And I'm not worried about reducing it down. All right, now we have a binomial on the bottom. So with the binomial, 2, I'm going to just change the imaginary number. So the real number stays the same, top and bottom. So negative 6 times 5, negative 2 times 5. And that's an I squared. Now the bottom is a difference of squares. So I don't have to FOIL it completely. I just have to go the first term times the first term and the last term times the last term. And then I have to clean this up. So negative 10I squared becomes positive 10. I squared again makes this a plus 4. So 36 plus 4, and you have your answer. So again, that I squared changes the sign, and then I combine them together. All right, use the conjugate, which is you change the sign of the imaginary number only. So we multiply, that's negative 56 and negative 72. I don't have to do anything with that. On the bottom, it's a difference of squares. So first times first is positive 49, and last times last is negative 81i squared. So I have negative 56 minus 72i. Remember, the I squared makes this a plus 81. So 81 plus 49, that's 50, and 80, that's 180. 130. All right, a few more left here. Use the conjugate again. So 5 subtract 5i. So 8 times 5, 8 times negative 5, and then 5 times 5, and 5 times negative 5. So the I squared makes that a positive 40 plus 40i. And then on the bottom, the I squared makes it a positive 25. So you add it together and it's 50. You don't have to reduce it down. 24. I need you to try it. So that's negative 2 plus 2i. That's negative 2 plus 2i. So this is negative 4i and 4i squared. This is positive 4 and negative 4i squared. Clean it up a little. So I squared makes it negative 4 minus 4i. The I squared makes it plus 4. So 4 plus 4, and you have your answer. Oops. 4 minus 5i. What was I doing? 4 minus 5i. I don't know. So change the sign of the imaginary number in the denominator. 4 minus 5i. That's a minus there. Now, this one I am going to have to FOIL. So I do have two binomials in the numerator. So I have 5 minus I and 4 minus 5i. So I am going to have to set it up. The denominator I don't, but the numerator is not a difference of squares. So I need to multiply this out. And then I'm going to combine like terms. So I know I squared is negative 1, right? So this is 20 minus 5. That's 15. And then combine that together, that's negative 29i. So that's not too bad. The denominator, 4 times 4 is 16, and 5 times negative 5. And that I squared makes it plus 25. So 16 plus 25, and you get your answer. All right, you got to try it, right? So negative 1 plus 6i. Press pause and try it. So the numerator, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to be able to multiply it out, FOIL it. So there's no shortcut to that. Negative 6, positive 5i. What is that? Oh, that's just a plus. So 6 times 6, 36i, and negative 30i squared. So again, the I squared makes it plus 30. So 30 take away 6, that's 24, and that's 41i. And then the bottom, a negative times a negative, that's positive 1, and negative times a positive, it's negative 36i squared. And then the last step, the I squared makes it plus 36. So 1 plus 36, and you get your answer. Almost there. All right, the conjugate. 8 minus 10i. 8 minus 10i. So I know the numerator, I'm going to have to FOIL it out. So I have negative 3 minus 4i. I have 8 minus 10i. And then multiply it out. So negative 24, negative 32i, plus 30i, and positive 40i squared. Draw a fraction line. So the I squared, of course, makes it negative 40. So they're both negative, so that's negative 64. The i's together make negative 2i. And then the denominator, 8 times 8 and 10 times 10. Again, remember the I squared makes a negative 1, makes this plus 100. And then you have your answer. There we go. It's now or never. Are you going to press pause and try it first? Here we go. Some of you are saying never. I'll just follow what you're doing. All right, let's go. FOIL. So we have negative 10 plus 10i. We have 9 plus 8i. So this is negative 90. This is 90i. This is negative 80i. And this is 80i squared. So in the numerator, again, this makes it negative 80. So negative 80 and negative 90. Let's see if I can do that. That's negative 170. I think that's right. Combine the i's together, that's plus 10i. The denominator, 9 times 9, and negative 8 times 8. So it's negative 64i squared. All right, so the I squared is negative, so a negative times a negative is positive 64, so 8 plus 64 is 145. And I did it. I got there. Mr. G Math, good job getting your work done. Until next time.